Okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of bill and payroll warrants.
So moved?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept correspondence in the read file.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public forum, now's the time for someone to speak if they want to speak on something that's not on the agenda. Yes?
Yes, hi, John Galvin on High Street. First, I want to congratulate Mr. Evans and Mr. Bezanson on great campaigns. Congratulations, gentlemen. Mr. Bezanson, especially you ran a great social media campaign, very impressive. There was one question I'd like to ask you about. You had mentioned an economic development plan, tax incentive program to bring businesses to Whitman.
Right.
Any time frame on when you think you might present that to the Board of Selectmen, or anything that you can comment on that give us some more information?
I started working with Assistant Town Administrator Lisa Green on the first leg of this. It's going to take a while to get all the moving pieces together. I have to speak with the assessors and the treasurer and the collector and everybody to get their opinion on how things are going to go, and then I'm going to speak with state officials on exactly what's legal, what's not legal, how we can go forward with this. But I've been thinking about this for a while, a three-leg plan, but there's a lot of legwork to it, so.
Okay, so it isn't anything you think would happen in the next 3-4 months? Anything that would help?
I would hope that will
Okay.
be coming as soon as possible, because the town needs that kind of a policy.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Galvin.
Mr. Chairman, I have a public forum, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I just would, I'd like to first congratulate Justin on a great campaign.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank everyone who voted for me, who came out to the election. It was nice to see. It was a beautiful day, and to have everybody come out. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that even if you did not vote for me, I will be working for you as hard as if you did. So thank you for coming out to the election, and congratulations. And I would like to also congratulate Mr. Lambiase on his work on the board for his time. That's it.
Okay. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. Last Friday, I went to the Duval School, elementary school, and they have a program called We Remember. And it's one of my favorite programs. And what it is it's a program where all the teachers, staff, and kids remember their brothers, sisters, fathers, aunts, uncles, grandparents who joined the service and fought to keep our country free, and they have passed, so they would pin a flag on this wreath, which was great. And at the end of it, when they were escorting me out, when it was all done, a young lady gave me a note, and I'd like to read it. It says, "Dear guest, I am so glad you could come today. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for coming to We Remember ceremony." And it's from a Jessica Makos. It's just one of the great things that we are teaching our children as far as appreciating the men and women who put on the uniform and protected our country. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Do
Mr.
any
Chair.
other selectmen want to say anything in public forum? Give you the opportunity to say something.
Sure.
Seeing as how we're extending it to the board as well as to the public.
I just want to take an opportunity to thank everybody for coming out to vote. I think it's, and congratulate Brian, obviously. It was a great campaign that you ran. It was really encouraging to see through the whole campaign process the enthusiasm from the public that I don't think we've seen in a little while. To have a turnout that high, to have town meeting as packed as I've ever seen it. I think this is a good sign of things to come, and I encourage anyone else involved in the town or who would like to be involved in the town, reach out. We've got openings on a couple of boards. I know there's at least one vacant finance committee seat down the hall, so encourage anybody who wants to get involved.
Okay, thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Anything?
Mr. Chairman, one last thing I forgot to tell.
Yes, Brian.
At the Memorial Day festivities, the parade, one of the last stops was the Civil War Monument in the park. And when we got there, the plaque was actually ripped off the Civil War Monument with a crowbar, and it was missing, and nobody noticed it until we got there for the festivities. But we're happy to report that the DPW workers found it today and are going to try to fix it up and be able to put it back on the Civil War Monument. So I know that the DA Cruz was there and he was really upset about it, and I talked with the Veterans Agent McCarthy about it, so we wanted to make sure that it didn't go any further than it did, but it is recovered and it's going to be put back. So.
Good, thank you, good news.
Yeah.
Approval of meeting minutes, open session, April 30th.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain from that.
Town Administrator's report, Frank?
Thank you. Just a couple of things. We're going to be talking about a town meeting. Within the town meeting, it's going to be a special. I have spoken with the school committee or representatives of the school committee and Hanson to identify what has been voted on their behalf by Hanson, and then I will relay this information to the Finance Committee. Just to clarify where we are, currently, we have $971,546, which will be available in which is available in free cash. We have $154,674, which is available in our capital stabilization fund. When I say free cash, currently, we voted to use free cash to pay the debt associated with the bond. Now that the debt exclusion has been approved, we will have the opportunity to transfer $532,000 from that appropriation into capital stabilization, because we can't put it back in free cash. At that point, we will be able to make a determination on what articles to act on and to amend the source to be capital stabilization, because they're all capital articles. We certainly, if we chose to spend every dollar we had, would be able to act on all those articles, but I don't think that would be a prudent thing to do. So we've got some work ahead of us.
I have a question for Frank. Question, Frank? Is it our intent that for every article on the school capital projects that Hanson voted in favor of, we will be suggesting that we will be recommending that we vote also in favor of it?
I can't say that. That's a determination that's going to have to be made. Right now, there are, going back to the town meeting, using our numbers, Article 38, Hanson approved for resurfacing the gym floor. Our cost would be $17,946. 39 is a vote to construct a handicap ramp. Hanson approved that last October. Our request is $41,874. Article 40 is a request for thumb latches at all interior classrooms in the high school. Hanson voted $14,043. Our request is $20,973. Article 41, which was to repair the existing fire lane going around the high school, Hanson approved for $10,045. We're being requested to appropriate 14,955. Article 42, which was to replace rooftop units on the system over the Performing Arts Center. Hanson passed over it. Our request on that is $59,820. And as I understand from a conversation with the schools last week, this is no longer optional, the unit has failed. Hard to believe, 14 years.
Really?
The unit has failed, and in order to hold their functions there until the unit is repaired, they're going to have to rent cooling equipment. So that's going to get very expensive. So while that may have been something that, well, let's see, I think it's moved up in priority. I know they're scheduled to meet with the Finance Committee the Tuesday before town meeting. They also passed over the request for 2 vehicles. Our request, Article 3, in this special town meeting, is going to be, as soon as I put my hands on it, to pay $40,479 to upgrade lighting in the Conley and DeVal schools. And the reason for that is the project's $111,000. The town will receive $15,000 from National Grid in incentives and $55,700 from Green Communities. So it doesn't make sense not
Not to do that,
take
right,
advantage of
absolutely.
that. And then Article 46, Article 45 is a request to repair the main roadway into the school. Hanson voted 84,378. We're being asked to appropriate 125,622. Article 46 is to repair the outdoor track. Hanson appropriated 90,405. We're being asked to appropriate 134,595. Now, those are just the school articles. There are also several other articles relating to town department purchases. So my guess is they're going to have to be prioritized, and it's unlikely that all of these articles will be voted.
And for the articles that Hanson voted in favor of, and if we cannot do that, then the money just stays
Well, it would be like it did when they voted the article last fall that we didn't vote. It would be appropriated but reserved.
and the lighting in the 2 elementary schools would lower the cost of electricity in those schools?
Absolutely.
And the region
And that's
would-
what's driving it.
Right, and the region, they're Whitman schools, but the region would get the benefit.
Yes.
Both Hanson and, yeah. Okay.
Anything else? You're gonna go
We
right-
will be seeing some additional expenses, particularly in lighting, because National Grid still has not addressed the purchase of the street lights. And I got a bill today for $14,000 that should only be $6,000. What I'm going to recommend is that we withhold the portion that relates to the light rentals and let it all settle up. Whenever it does, we'll have to encumber some money at the end of the year to ensure that we don't get caught in a pickle on that.
Anyone have
And
anything else?
finally,
Yeah, you- Go on.
as you know, the Collins Center has been working with us for both a capital plan and a budget model. I mentioned at our last meeting that the budget outline came in, and there were a number of errors and disconnects in it, and I sent it back requesting that they update it. I did receive a request today by email and telephone for a copy of that draft, and I'm not comfortable sending it out because it's inaccurate. And my experience with sending out things while they're under development is they typically come back to bite you because people look at it and say, well, wait a minute, this is what we were told. And I told the requester that I would typically not release those things until they're presented to the board. But I also said I would discuss it with the board. And my recommendation is that we hold it until it's mostly accurate, which I expect would be in a week or two when the next draft comes in. So far as the capital report goes, we do not yet have one. We're still waiting to schedule a meeting to receive and discuss the draft capital program.
Anyone have any questions of Frank?
Yeah. All right, so 971,546 free cash right now,
Well, no, that was,
or is that with the 532?
that's with the 532. It's not
And then one,
extra money.
all right. And then 160. So obviously we want to try to put some money back in stabilization.
Yep.
So
Absolutely, yes.
would it be prudent of this board to make a motion to put X amount back in stabilization and then work off?
That would be an approach. It'll, what we have right now, and let me just, I've had to rearrange the appropriations. So while we don't have the free cash that I read, and we have that money, it's just, it's not appropriated yet. But if you add it all up together, we have $1,126,220 on hand. That includes free cash, it includes capital stabilization. It would not be advisable for us to spend all of that.
No, I mean, I personally think we need to get a little bit more money back into stabilization. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I think 100 and,
Do you have a figure?
Stabilization or capital
Capital.
stabilization? There's two different,
what's our stabilization? Because we,
Stabilization is
That was like
2,000,006. That's when we go to hell in a handbasket and have nothing left. Capital stabilization right now is 154,600. Remember, we drew down 800 on that last year. I would like to see another 200 go back in there. And then, at our next meeting, I'm going to be bringing an amendment to the budget policy, the cash policy that we voted on April 30th, and it will address how we will handle revenue estimates once assessments are done. We'll be working with the assessor so we can recognize that additional available funds, and that will be part of the policy.
and roughly, what were the remaining articles for the town stuff?
I believe it was 972,3, that number sticks in my head. It's 972 and change.
I would make a motion to take 150 from free cash and put it in the capital stabilization to bring that up to closer to 300,000.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Discussion.
Do you think if we were to do that, but we needed that money for something else we're not too sure of right until the final numbers go for our town meeting in June, the continuing the town meeting, are we gonna cut ourselves short by doing that? Or will that be maybe an amendment at town meeting to add monies to the capital stabilization?
If we do what Randy's suggesting, there will be $821,000 available for appropriation in whatever fashion we appropriate it.
Now, if we do that, isn't the money from the debt exclusion, money freed up by the debt exclusion being directed to capital stabilization for appropriation at town meeting?
No, because what's going to happen is we're going to vote to transfer the 532, 432 that was previously voted from free cash
Yep.
into capital stabilization. And then we are going to vote to raise and appropriate the 532 from the levy,
Right.
because that's what it's intended for.
And that's what the debt exclusion passed for. But, so now there will be 600 something thousand in capital stabilization.
No, there will be 150, 400, no, 300, 304.
With Randy's proposal.
Yes. Now, there's one other thing. When we voted this is why I want to get all the pieces
Yeah.
together. When we voted at the town meeting, 154,000 was raise and appropriate. So what'll happen is that money will be essentially available in the levy because we've already appropriated it before we did the capital exclusion.
Okay.
But the capital exclusion will essentially put that 154 back or available for appropriation.
Okay.
So we're not, we're not cutting too tight or too short on this. But we have to start a process that enables us to plan ahead.
Yeah. So for this town meeting, will some of the capital articles that we'd like to fund, the source of the money to pay for it be coming from capital stabilization?
Yes, because
Okay.
we're putting the money in there and then we're
And
going
then
to
we're
take it
taking it
out.
out. And so that's why
But
I'm,
we're going to, at least the way I understand this recommendation, is we're going to stop at the point where we have
304 left.
304 left.
okay.
And then the other money that's appropriated will be within a couple of thousand of what we estimate to be the levy limit.
And so that was where I was confused. So if during town meeting, the town wishes to vote to appropriate more articles from capital stabilization, we are not, what's preventing them from dipping below that 304?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. The vote at town meeting is the decision. All we can do is recommend and present the genesis of a plan and say, look, this is what we need to do to start securing our financial footing.
All right, so Frank, then why do we need Randy's vote to put in 200,000 into capital stabilization? If it's all, or whatever it is, the
Well,
amount was.
it's going
all
to
gonna
have
in
to
there.
be, it's going to have to be one of the articles at the end of the night.
Yeah. I mean, I can see making a motion to maintain a level of capital stabilization over 300,000.
Well, fine, it
in
gets us to the
recommendation.
same place.
But not, because it's all gonna go in there.
So what Randy's motion is to reserve an additional 150,000 for capital stabilization, regardless of how the mechanics work.
Right. Just to build that back
Because
up. 'cause
part of it will
Right,
be
you wanna
raised and
maintain a
appropriate to make up for
$300,000
what we already
level.
used.
Yeah.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor of Randy's motion?
Aye.
Thanks, Randy. Budget review, Frank, is that what we were just doing?
Well, the budget review is what I talked about before, the
Right.
document that we're waiting to
Okay.
correct.
New business.
I did have a question.
Go ahead.
Was in reference, I was the email and the phone call. I guess the question is, I guess to be a bit more specific, is that information public? The document that has been, the first draft that was created by the Collins Center of the budget document that was presented, that was then sent back because of some inaccuracies, is that public information?
Generally, when a report is commissioned, we don't treat it as public information until it's been received by the
Final
board.
report, yeah.
And the board has not received this report yet.
So the answer to that question is no, it's not public information.
It's not public information yet.
And I guess we'll go with that. I'm gonna follow up with a Collins Center or whatnot, but I would like to review that document. I think being able to review it in real time as you are also reviewing it, just to see, you know, just to be part of the process and to keep it transparent, I think would be helpful. I'm not exactly sure why. Obviously, if there's some inaccurate information, knowing that it's inaccurate and highlighting that information is, I don't think it needs to be a secret or whatnot. It's just part of the process. But I think it can only be helpful, really. And the capital plan, there's still no draft capital plan?
There is still no draft capital plan.
You're going to be asking the Collins Center about that, too?
I guess I have to, yeah.
You know, there's something I'd like to point out. This whole process is going to be interactive. When they prepare to meet with us on a capital plan, it will be a public meeting. It will be a document presented, presumably at least to the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee to begin the analysis and say, does this work? Where does it work? How does it work? Not unlike what we're talking about with the budget piece. But I'm not, there are misidentified departments in it, there are misidentified org charts. And I don't want to release a document like that because it's defective.
Sure. I think those are valid discussion points, but to have it open, I think, would be helpful. The last time we had the Collins Center involved, if you remember correctly, it took multiple years for that report to come out, and it never came out from this board. It came out by the Collins Center. That's how I received it. That's how you can just go online and have access to that document now. You know, so I don't know why it can't be a bit more open. I think it would be helpful for everybody involved. The budget document is a really important document, especially considering the time that we're going through, and the capital plan, for obvious reasons, is the same, so.
You know, Sean, I agree with your concerns and what you're saying, but at the same time, how do you develop a document in a how can I put this? In a public, anybody wants to critique setting where you might have 50, 60 people all telling them different things. We want this, we want that. It doesn't work that way. This board and the Finance Committee are responsible for preparing and presenting information. You know, you want to come in and look at it. I mean, it's in my office. I just don't want to release it to the public when it's inaccurate.
I think a draft infers that it's still a work in progress. The fact that the Collins Center presented a draft to the town, you know, a public organization using public funds to do this kind of thing, it all seems logical that why wouldn't we?
And actually, what the email says is, please review this and get back to me with edits and corrections. It's not something they intended to be published.
Did they watermark draft across it?
It's a draft document.
Okay.
It's not watermarked, but it's a draft
Just
document.
if it were to be released publicly, would
Yeah.
it be immediately identifiable as a draft?
Sure.
My experience in the past with that has not been good, but, you know, I remember meetings where people kept holding up pieces of paper and saying, but this is what it said. Throw it away. It's version 1. We're on version 5. I don't have a horse in this race in terms of, I think it looks unprofessional when you start putting out information that doesn't accurately identify the department. It may even affect the confidence people have in the
Right.
report.
I mean, I'm a transparency freak, Sean. I think you know that by now. And what I will say, what I observed in the last budget cycle, it seemed like every week we were getting a new article too. And I think that, you know, and a lot of those were drafts, and it definitely caused a lot of discourse throughout the process.
Absolutely.
Can I respond to that? I was one of those people that got all those copies of the Article 2, and throughout the whole process, without being involved from the very beginning, I would have never had the understanding that I had sitting at town meeting, the whole reason 5, 6 months ago I started attending these meetings and the finance committee meetings is because last year at town meeting, I walked in there and went, what are we voting on here? So I made the decision to educate myself by attending meetings and getting those multiple copies, which were clearly told to me by Mr. Lynham that these are draft Article 2s, but without getting them all and seeing the whole process along the way, I have them all still. I wouldn't have been in the position where I could have understood, and I think this applies the same way to this. This is a huge process. There's, citizens here that want to understand what's going on. And if we get in down the line, 3 copies down the line, we're going to not know how we got there. And I think that's important.
There's an opening on the finance committee, write a letter.
It's 2, I understand.
There you go.
1 or 2, is there 2 or 1?
Don't know.
Two.
There too?
Sean, my invitation's still open.
Two.
There's one resignation that's been
I-
received, so.
How does the board feel about it? I can,
Between you and I, Frank, I think, with Randy's idea, where there's so many Article 2s, I can understand the gentleman's position that, yeah, it shows the process, but I think it was a lot of scare tactics when people were looking at it, and they were worried. And, and it was making them think, am I gonna have a job tomorrow? And I think that was the wrong message that was sent. I think, we needed some stability in the town and to look at the process and work at it and
what
come-
it's doing is it's capturing what's happened.
Right.
It's capturing FY '20, but FY '20 isn't complete yet. I mean, I've asked the clerk to do a certification of the votes already taken, and she feels she can't until the town meeting is finished. So right now, the accountant's struggling to put numbers in the system because he doesn't have that certification. So I'm ambivalent, really. I don't like to put out a document that I know is wrong.
Right.
Well, there's a difference between putting out a document that you know has errors in it and a document that's in progress.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and this is in progress.
No, it's one that you see errors in.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for you.
Right, and
It's
that's,
fine.
going back, I mean, if it has clear clerical errors in it, yes, we don't want to, I mean, I have no problem showing some of the process, and like I just said, I mean, transparency is very important to me. So showing somebody the work in progress, but if it's actually wrong, that's what I don't want to see put out there.
Right, things like
And I think we had that,
department structure is wrong in a couple of
and
cases.
we had that going back to and I had numerous people call me through the process of things that just weren't right in those Article 2s.
Right.
And got out there, and yes, if you're into it from the beginning, you saw the development. I think if somebody jumps in the middle of it, oh, I got this back then, and then I took the summer off, I didn't come back to it, and there's been more drafts out there. I mean, I don't want to see it sit all summer long, and we're not releasing information, but, I mean, I definitely think we should get some type of timetable formulated of this process. I don't think we can just go meeting to meeting again.
Right.
I think we need to set some guidelines and parameters and, benchmarks, and if we don't hit them, have clear, definite answers why we didn't hit them. If we say the Collins Center is supposed to get back to us July 1, we should have something back to present July 1. I don't know if that helps you at all, but
And again,
That's
what
my
we're
thought
talking about here is
process.
a budget model. It's what's going to appear on the web going forward as our analysis of needs and projected budgets.
I mean, I think also, for our next meeting, I think we need to have a clear guideline of what we're going to do over the summer, what we're going to do in the fall. And that could be part of what Brian's working on, and it could be a lot of things, but I don't think we can go the summer again and not put something out and have people that are paying attention not get the answers they want.
Heard. Anyone else? Okay. We're ready to act on the recommendation of Chief Benton to appoint George Vemus to the position of Auxiliary Special Police Officer through June 30th, 2020.
So moved?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the request of the Southeastern Philharmonic Orchestra for permission to use the Town Hall Auditorium to conduct a free concert on April 26, 2020 at 2:30 PM.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the disclosure of non-elected municipal employee of financial interest and determination by appointing authority as required by General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 19, for Assistant Town Administrator Lisa Green.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion?
We should clarify that the request for disclosure simply exists because our relative of Lisa is applying for and likely will be working for the Recreation Department. We have no actual conflict, but her concern is that people know ahead of time.
And we had this last year
That this
without
is gonna happen.
conflict too, so.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Authorize the selection of the Melanson Health for audit for FY 19-2021. Frank?
Melanson has done auditing for quite a few years. Last
Melanson
year,
Heath,
we
I'm sorry.
shook up the relationships, the organization, so that people wouldn't get too comfortable with what we're doing. I'm okay with them as an auditor. However, I've also been looking at pricing, and
Yeah.
if the board approves appointing them, I'm going to be asking them to reduce their proposal based on what I'm seeing in towns around us, and by a couple of $1,000s.
I'll make that motion for discussion.
Second.
Frank, if we make that motion and we say to go with them, do you still have leeway as far, are we, in our motion, the amount of numbers that they have for 19, 20, and 21, what they cost us, does that tie your hands?
No, because until we sign an agreement, we don't have one.
It's just, this motion is to allow you to negotiate.
To select Melanson Heath, subject to an acceptable pricing.
Okay. Then my motion will go, okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote to call for a special town meeting on June 17th, 2019.
So moved?
Second.
So we know we're continuing town meeting. This is a special town meeting within the town
Within the-
meeting.
yes.
We're allowed to have, because it's the same town meeting as before, we're allowed to have a second special town meeting within a continued town meeting?
Yes, you can always have a special town meeting, irrespective of the annual town meeting. In this case, as we have in the past, we schedule it for a different time, so there's no confusion. I anticipate we will do what we did on May 6th, which is to open the meeting, adjourn to the special, then come back to the annual. When we meet on June 17th, the articles that are not acted upon may be amended, may be passed over. No reconsideration can be done on any vote taken in the previous adjourned town meeting. So I just want to make that clear for people, so they understand that we can't go back and reconsider an article. That's why we have to have another special, because we can't reconsider what we voted before. So Article 1 will be to transfer 532. Article 2 will be to raise and appropriate 532. And Article 3 will be the school request for the lighting in the event that it receives a favorable recommendation. And I do have those warrants here to be signed, so we can post them.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in
I
favor?
have a question. I'm a member of the Whitman Hanson Community Access Board of Directors. Was there an opening for warrants for this special town meeting that was notified to, if Whitman Hanson Community Access wanted to get something on that special town meeting? Considering the warrant that was just recently passed in the last special town meeting? as far as getting appropriations for that special warrant that was just approved at the last special town meeting, because right now that money, as it comes into the town, will go to the town, but it's not going to get appropriated into Whitman Hanson Community Access, because,
Okay, I understand what you're getting at. We voted on May 6th to begin a special revenue fund for cable fees. Right now, they're payable directly to the cable entity, but the Department of Revenue has taken the position that because they are municipal in nature, because of the license, the funds have to go through the town. So what will happen is, going forward, those quarterly payments will come to the town and be deposited to a special revenue fund. As I'm understanding, the request is to put an article on that special town meeting to allow an appropriation to be made for next year.
a structure of the appropriation.
Didn't we vote in town meeting past where all monies coming from the state or coming from Continental Cable going to the cable studio that used to come through the town automatically now gets transferred to that?
Yes, except the state is now telling us we can't do that. Hanson just went through the same thing.
So are you asking for another article to be added to the
I
special
just
town
was
meeting?
wondering,
Is that
would like
basically what you're
to
doing?
meet with Whitman Hanson Community Access to see if we can get an article to appropriate those funds as they come in.
Because of timing, there isn't an opportunity to do that. The warrant has to be posted 2 weeks in advance of the meeting.
Okay.
And that's the reason it wasn't open to anyone. I stated at town meeting, we would have a special town meeting to move these funds. Carl, I'm not adverse to putting in an article to see if the town will vote to appropriate a sum of money from the special revenue fund to provide for Whitman Hanson cable access.
And
If the
that's
board's amenable to that.
right. And if in fact, when he goes back to your board of directors, if it's okay, fine. If it's not needed, we can just pass over it. As long as it's there. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I think we would want to
Well, no, they're
have,
going to want it.
I think we're going to want to have some say in how that warrant is, so if we're saying that, we want to structure it in a way that, we don't have to appropriate the money. We want to structure it in a way and that as the money comes in, it's, the money that comes in gets out in a certain time frame to the cable access company so that we can pay our bills.
I don't believe we can do that because there's no certainty as to what the numbers are. We can approximate what can be appropriated, and we can vote. Can we? Wait a minute.
I mean, our
Special
concern is
revenue.
if there is
See, it's
not,
not an enterprise, so we can't just,
if there is not a special town meeting in the fall, then we have to wait until next year to get any money from the town.
that's correct.
Couldn't we just set up like a rope?
No, you can't do a revolving.
Can't we put a general,
Has to be special revenue.
right, can't we make it a general, saying just all monies?
No,
That's-
because when you vote an article, you have to specify an amount. You can't put a sum of money. I mean, we can do that tonight to
No
get
less
it
than
on
a
the
dollar, no
warrant,
more
but
than
it's
a
gonna
million.
have to be amended on the floor.
No, I wouldn't want to have a warrant put on the special town meeting without some input from the board of directors from Whitman Hanson Cable Access, so.
The warrant needs to be posted by Monday.
But, so there is a timeframe that I could speak with Eric and the board, and we could try to come up
No, it
with
has to be posted by Thursday,
You got 2 days.
2 days.
because it's a Monday meeting.
Okay.
So if he gets back to Eric and Eric calls you tomorrow, if we motion that, if in fact that happens, you can put in that article on the special within the continuing, and Eric gets back to Frank tomorrow with a phone call, or just come over here if he's got it written out, what he'd like to see. I mean, he's the director. I know you have a board of directors, but he's the director there. He probably knows what he would suggest to the board.
Right.
I mean, let him make
I'll
the
also
decision.
have to talk to the DOR to see what the structure
Yeah.
would be.
We could put,
What is Hanson doing?
I have no idea. Their warrant was drafted a little differently, but I don't think I think the same issue is in Hanson too, that the money is not getting appropriated because of the way
Yeah,
the warrant was
because
set up.
any warrant for spending has to contain an amount. You can't vote a blank check. That's the rules of the Department of.
So how do we
Revenue.
know what the amount is gonna be?
Well, we can look and estimate what the earnings are. I mean, I can look at last year and the year before, look at the trend, and we know that it's going to be at least,
This is a yearly amount?
yes, it's going to be at least 250,000, probably more.
So what if you put, well,
could you do like up to?
right, up to 350, up to 400, up to
get it
500?
out there, a generic,
No, you have to
Terminology.
put an amount.
but up to.
You can't say up to, because then you haven't made the appropriation.
Can the
I can
interested,
find
can
out
the
if we can write a
interested
spending
parties
warrant.
get this done by Thursday?
I think so.
Okay.
If the
I'll
board
talk to her.
votes
I'll
to
talk
call
to
for a special town meeting, subject to final warrant, I'll have everything ready, and you can come in and sign it by
Okay.
Thursday.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you need a motion for that?
A motion to call for the special town
Yeah,
meeting.
I'll make that
I
motion.
think you already did.
Okay?
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Cable special revenue.
Act on the request of Chief Breno for a line item transfer in the amount of,
8,600?
is that 8,600?
Yep.
From line item number 133, all of the services, to line item number 140, ambulance billing.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the request of Chief Breno for a line item transfer in the amount of $10,000 from line item 133, all other services, to line item 135, expense.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Set the June meeting schedule.
Lori, how much time do we need for the hearing?
You're meeting in 2 weeks, I can't,
Right.
I know how to do it.
That's what I thought.
What hearing?
So what are you suggesting?
11:23.
I would say here's a calendar. June. I'd suggest the 10th and 24th, maybe?
That's Monday.
10th is a Monday?
The 11th.
11th, 20th.
I'm sorry, 11th and 25th.
Okay, you can have a meeting on the 11th, I won't be here. I won't be able to be here on the 11th. For roughly the same reason that
Right.
Randy wanted a meeting tonight instead of last week.
What we could do is, we can meet before town meeting if there's any cleanup stuff necessary.
Mhm.
Is there any reason to have one on the 6th?
The 6th, what are you talking
I mean,
about?
on the 4th?
No.
So perhaps we can do the
17th and the 25th?
17th and 18th. 17th would simply be any essentials before town meeting, and the 18th would be a regular meeting,
Okay, so 17th and 18th?
yes. And that would allow us to deal with the year-end transfers as well.
Okay.
Oh, So you will be here,
What, on 17th?
right? 'Cause we're not, I'm just saying, we're not having one on the 11th, right?
Right,
Just the 17th and 18th?
17th and 18th.
Okay, as I'm saying, you'll be here. Very good. Yeah, don't get the gap.
Okay, 17th and 18th.
I love teasing you.
Whole business, election day parking policy. Frank?
You have a draft that covers the 2 spaces in front of Menards and the space in front of the post office, if we use those dimensions. which is 175 feet. 25 feet more than the loop.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
How's the chief feel about it? Scott, chief, about the parking ban, comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, it's the spaces that we talked about
Yeah.
up front here
Yeah.
for 30 minutes. Yep.
That worked out well.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the request of Christine Morse to change the date of previously approved use of the Town Hall Auditorium, originally 10/5/19. It was approved for a beauty pageant to benefit the Miss Whitman Scholarship Organization, but there's a conflict on that day with two other pageants, so Ms. Morse is requesting to change the date to March 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And I think that exhausts the agenda. The motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.